Still sending DMs and wondering why no one responds? In 2025, video isn't an option, it's your secret weapon. This is Gratitude Geek. I'm Kandas Rodarte, productivity coach for female solopreneurs over 40. And today we are talking to Jason Zygadlo. Jason is a video branding strategist and founder of Build Your Own Brand, BYOB. I think that's adorable. He's teaching professionals how to stop blending in and start connecting with custom click-worthy video. Welcome, Jason.
Kandas, thank you so much for having me. Happy Tuesday. How are you?
Oh, I'm fabulous.
Good.
Is it Tuesday? Is it Tuesday already?
It's
you know what?
Tuesday.
This episode is going to drop on it. This episode is going to drop on a Tuesday. So it is Tuesday.
All right.
I love it. Okay, so tell us your story. How did you get involved with video?
Yeah, it's such a good question. So I come from the medical device sales space. That's my background. And towards the end of my sales career, before starting Build Your Own Brand, I had learned of using personalized videos. And a gentleman by the name of Matthew Ray Scott, shout out to Matthew, was the one that said, look, there's a better way to connect with people, whoever that end user might be. For me, it was nurses, surgeons, etc. How often do we drive to wherever we're going to go connect with whomever it is we're trying to connect with? And then there's Gloria the gatekeeper, and you're forced to leave information, a business card, and don't get the opportunity to connect with the person you're ultimately trying to connect with. And so the idea was, what if we sent a video that was strategic and directed to that end user, bypassed Gloria the gatekeeper, and got the information and message that we were trying to send to that individual by a video. And video is so relatable, Kandas, because you can see the person's genuineness and authenticity in terms of how they send that video. And so I started to do just that. I was sending introductory videos with just my name, my company, the product I represented, and said, look, I could have emailed you or, left you a note at your office, but I wanted to reach out to you in a more creative and personalized way. And the platform that I use also provides some data that shows how long the video was watched, when it was opened, and these types of things I use strategically then to help me craft my next message or tailor what time of day I send the message. And what I saw was my engagement with busy doctors started to increase rapidly. And, my colleagues who were at one time making fun of me for sending videos to doctors were now going, hey, how did you get in front of Dr. Kandas? How did she called you back? And it was ultimately because I sent genuine and authentic video, and they could watch it at their own time. Maybe it was on their couch after work or whenever they were most comfortable. I found that people were connecting back with me. And so ultimately that's how it got started.
So explain to me how you got the video to the end user.
Yeah, so ultimately you can email it, you can text it, can send it through LinkedIn. There's a variety of ways to share the video. My belief, my opinion, anecdotally speaking, I have found much success when you can text something. And so imagine getting a video, and there's some creative ways in how you send the video. So, oftentimes I would like to put myself on someone's LinkedIn page or perhaps on their business page, so that when they see the little thumbnail come through, they go, wait a second, who's this guy? And why the hell's he on my page or my business's page? Naturally, we're creative creatures. What do? We click on the message because you want to hear what someone's saying. So ultimately, once they clicked on it, they would listen more so than not. And it was that way of kind of getting it out. Now, I always say, look, it doesn't replace in-person meetings, doesn't replace email, doesn't replace whatever way you want to ultimately try to connect with people. It's an additional tool in the toolbox that I have found to be, again, in my own experiences, very effective.
Who is this tool good for?
So I think anyone, especially someone who's trying to connect with someone where there's gatekeepers in the way, it's a way for you, again, to send a genuine and heartfelt, authentic message to that individual and letting them know what it is you're trying to accomplish. So I think that's one way, but I also, in the same breath, say how versatile the videos can be. So imagine getting a video this way as an introduction or an introductory video, or as a thank you, or as a way to do a quick little demo. If I were to show you something, there's many a times where I said, hey, here's my medical device. I know there's, my competitors are saying how difficult it is to use. It's just as simple as, kind of turning the button, advancing the tip, and then writing with the instrument. Not that difficult. So a way to, again, if you can't get in front of that person because of all the gatekeeping, I just now showed you how it worked without necessarily having to be in front of you in person, so to speak. So there's a variety of ways to use the technology.
So the listener, for the most part, is a solopreneur, probably not in sales. They're probably selling a product.
Sure.
Well, okay, everybody's in sales. It sounds to me like the tool you're talking about is a great tool for outside sales reps or independent reps who are trying to land new deals with new clients. But can you tailor this concept to a solopreneur?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I am one now, right? I mean, as running this build your own brand business and doing a lot of consulting, helping individuals level up how they interview and how they tell their story, I, as a thank you after every client I get, or as a way to say a confirmation, hey, Kandas, it's Jason from Build Your Own Brand. Listen, next Tuesday at 3 o'clock, I just wanted to confirm, you and I are meeting. I'm really excited to connect with you. Could have emailed you a confirmation. I just wanted to send you a personalized message, in a more creative and unique way. That way you can put a face with the name. Thank you so much. Really looking forward to our conversation. That's so one way of doing it.
Each of these videos is a one-off. This is not a YouTube video. It's not an instructional video. It is a personalized video meant for one person, like sending a voice message, or it's like leaving 100%. A voicemail, but it's video.
It is. And, I think what I love about it, again, is number one, the versatility. There's so many ways as you kind of start to listen, and as we have this conversation, you can start to think about how these videos can be used as a salesperson, as a solopreneur, et cetera, et cetera. But I love the fact that people get to put a face with the name and they can see some expression. I mean, this is me. I'm a type A guy. I'm an upbeat guy. You get that sense of someone's personality when you see them in video. And, the pushback that I typically will get is, ooh, I don't love how I sound, or, I don't love necessarily being on video. Listen, attention is the new currency and comfort is the enemy of growth. And if you're not adopting some of these tools, I think it's a big misstep. It's a big missed opportunity. And I always tell people, I'm not some news anchor where I need to be so perfect in front of the camera. I think, personally speaking, that's what makes it so genuine and authentic. And that's why people relate and people connect. There are some ums and uhs, and maybe the camera lighting isn't the best, or my eye contact to the camera. Like, those are things that are learned over time, but that's what makes us so real and relatable, in my opinion.
Their show is called Gratitude Geek, so I'm about to get geeky. Yeah. Anytime we see a movie or a TV show that's based in the future, and I'm not even talking far into the future, 50 years, we don't see them talking on phones. We see them talking to people.
Yeah.
Like, their phone is a video.
That's right.
And so I do believe that within the next 10 or 20 years, there will be no more text messages. There will be no more phone calls. It will be video chat only. So we're early adopters here if we're doing video content like I don't even want to call it content, personalized videos this way.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think I've received 2 of these videos. Number 1 was from Matthew Ray Scott, who was a very direct, intentional video. My name, a little bit about my background in business. I'm like, whoa. I felt so special opening up that video when it was some strange guy on my LinkedIn page. I'm like, who is this guy? What's he saying about me? And then there was this tailored message directly to me. Almost knocked me out of my chair. The first thing I thought is, I need to be doing this. And the second time I received a video, it was a video, but it was from a realtor at a house I had looked at, never used my name. There was nothing like about my family, my kids, what I was looking for in the house. You can tell that they had made a video, but were blasting it out to the masses. And I sniffed it out easily and quickly and thought to myself, wow, you just really missed a good opportunity to be intentional, to be authentic and genuine, to show gratitude for me potentially working with you. Like, what a misstep. And I just remember thinking to myself, wow, like using the technology, yes, but a big fail in how you're using it.
The first person who ever showed me personalized video technology was a real estate agent, and it was about 10 years ago. So,
Yep.
And I thought it was a little clunky because there was so many steps. It wasn't click, click yet. It was, it was like, am I going to open this, am I going to open a video from a person I don't even know? But I mean, I knew him, but
Right.
So how has it improved over? I mean, it's been a decade. So how has it improved?
Yeah, I guess it's a great question because I don't know it from a decade, right? Like I only know it from the last, few years. And what I would say is I find it to be fairly easy. At this point, as you know, Kandas, there's several platforms out there that you can use. I mean, I feel like those are even growing quickly in terms of, the different platforms you can align with to send video. I tell people the poor man's personalized video is flipping your phone around and sending a video that way. It's the intentionality behind it, and it's the messaging that you're including that I think is really ultimately what really is the important piece. I mean, there's some great ones that have analytical data, as I referenced earlier, in terms of, knowing when the video was opened and how long it was watched. That's all awesome information. But really, you don't get a lot of personalized videos. At least I don't. And as long as it's been out, to your point, a decade, how often do you really receive those? For it being out as long as it have, not many times. And what I tell people is by just doing that alone, you're automatically separating yourself and breaking out of what I talk about as being the sea of sameness. Mm-hmm. Attention is the new currency. How are you finding ways to be unique and different and memorable? As a solopreneur, as a person looking for a job, as a person just doing anything. It's all about that way of being a little bit different.
I have a friend, her name's Phoebe Trotman. She's been on the show before. There'll be a link to that episode in the show notes. She sends personalized videos. She just picks up her phone and sings happy birthday to you. It just says, I'm thinking about you. And she does that. And it's really memorable. It is extremely memorable. I mean, she's top of mind all the time because she does that little thing. Even if she only does it once a year, she's still top of mind because she stands out.
Yep. There's something very special about receiving a video when it's tailored to you, where you're just like, wow, because it's so infrequent that therefore I think it just kind of takes it to that level of like, this is really awesome. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, but I travel now. I send my wife videos. I send my daughter videos. Oftentimes they're like, Dad, why'd you call us? You're on a business trip. Like, usually you send a video. They almost expect it. So not only does it have to be professional, my own family, kind of like your example. I mean, just sending a birthday message that way can be really special because it's the intentionality of taking that extra minute or two to send something in a different way that just really hits differently with people.
I want to switch gears because I love BYOB. I think that it is brilliant marketing. Build your own brand. BYOB. It's brilliant. So talk to me about how you came up with that name.
So I work with a lot of fresh college graduates. As you can tell, the name BYOB, a lot of people associate that. It's no secret with bring your own beer. A lot of the younger folks think it's funny. It's a nice little play on words. But yeah, I mean, build your own brand is a company that really started out wanting to help individuals level up how they interview. And I spend a lot of time career professional development consulting. I spend a lot of time at universities. I live in Ohio, so there's some local universities, my own alma mater, Kent State University. I do a lot with the university and the students at the university to really, I'm careful in how I say, but college graduates, after they leave, I think a lot of colleges don't do the best job at setting students up for when they leave. I think that, hey, we just took all your money, we gave you a degree, but we don't tell you how to leverage that in the real world. And students are humbled very quickly when they go, wow, I thought I was going to go out, get with my degree, get this big paying job. And then quickly I realized, whoa, that's kind of not how it is in most cases. There are some anomaly situations, et cetera, but for the most part, that's what happens. And for me, I wanted to get into pharmaceutical sales. That is a career that many people want to get into. Oftentimes, people start out selling copy machines, phones, cars, something else, in order to then leverage that into getting into one of those medical sales jobs.
For me, still sell copy machines?
I don't know. Maybe I dated myself, right? It's a great question. I don't know. I use the term copy machine, Rolodex. We may lose a little of the audience, but for
not Rolex, Rolodex. It's what you
Rolodex.
had before you had a smartphone.
Yeah, exactly. But for me, it was, how can I get one of these jobs right out of college? And I was told, oh, that's not going to happen. You need to do something different. To make a long story semi-short, I put on my suit. I bought some shiny folders. I put my resume in there. I made my own business cards. For all you listeners that are younger, that's what the Rolodex was for, to file business cards. And I went out and I stood out and hung out in medical office parking lots. So when the Chevy Impalas and the Ford Tauruses pulled in, those typically were the company cars of pharmaceutical reps. When I seen them jump out of the car, go to their trunk, grab samples and pens to take into the offices, I very kindly went up to them and said, look, I'm trying to break into the industry. There's no LinkedIn yet. I need help. And I'm hoping that maybe you can pass my information along to your manager. And back then, little did I know, Kandas, when someone got out of the passenger seat, it was a sales manager doing a ride-along visit with their sales rep for the day. And you can only imagine how they looked at me. Who is this gritty, creative, tenacious, maybe a little crazy guy standing out and approaching us? That's cold calling right there. In essence, that's what I was doing. And so that was really my gateway, what kind of got me some exposure as a young, fresh college graduate to break in finally into that industry. And I tell people that I work with now, clients, I'm not asking anyone to stand out in parking lots and, approach people. That doesn't always work, especially nowadays. But what I did do was find a way to be unique and different and memorable. And that's ultimately what got me some eyes, some visibility. And then from there, I had to represent myself at a high level, and how I interviewed. That was just to get me an opportunity. And so after successfully doing that at a very early age, I, over time, had become the guy that my accounting buddies and finance buddies and engineering buddies and nurses and all these different fields were coming to me going, Jason, can you help me kind of tell my story in a unique and memorable way? Like the questions you use during the interview process, building a 180-day business plan, proactively for the interview I had coming up. I put together what I call, Kandas, a legacy list of all of the things that I accomplished. Back then it was what I did in college. I was the president of my fraternity, student government, RA, community service, letters from my professor, my advisors, different things like that were so much more than what my resume said I was. That was my additional way to help tell my story, that I somehow became anointed, alluding back to what I was saying. My friends and family were coming to me for help. And I found that as I got older and I could help people get the careers that they wanted, that I had more satisfaction doing that than selling my hospital widget into the hospital. And a lot of that came from a cancer diagnosis. I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma in 2019. And so it was like at that point where I had this tug and pull where I'm making more money than I ever expected to make as a first generation college person in my family. But am I really feel like I'm doing meaningful work? Yes, I'm selling great products for great companies, but like I love helping people level up how they tell their story. Ones that are really smart, but they just don't have that salesy way of like representing themselves at the highest level. What if I can find a way to monetize that? What if I could do that? What if I could help people get the jobs that they want? And so on a leap of faith and some support from my wife, pushed me into the deep end when I was dipping my toe. And she's like, look, there's something here for you. You get more excited when you do that work anymore than you do your own corporate job. And that's what I did. I kind of jumped in. And here I am, still trying to kind of figure out what it is I'm going to ultimately do with my life. I'm doing one-on-one consulting. In fact, I'm coming to Michigan this week to a car dealership to help train their sales team just because they wanted someone with a different background and different experiences to help build customer experience for the people coming to look to buy cars. Sometimes it's taking a different vantage point and looking at someone with a different lens to help them come in and go, wow, this medical sales guy might have some cool ideas for us to explore. I'm working with a mortgage company now and helping loan officers and how they connect with. So I'm helping individuals in their kind of career journey, fresh college graduates, like I said, lots of different folks in different backgrounds, VP at a high level company and everyone in between, but now working with businesses too and help everyone ultimately build their brands. That's ultimately what I think it's all about is, how do you stand out?
Well, sales is sales is sales is sales. It doesn't matter what you're selling. If
True.
you're selling 2 + 2 = 4 as a teacher, or you're selling pharmaceuticals to doctor's offices, or you're selling cars to fleets to big businesses, sales is sales is sales. And there's some fundamentals there.
That's
all right,
right.
I want to stick on the topic of branding.
Yeah.
So you like football. You enjoy
Love
watching
football.
I would like to hear your thoughts on what you have learned about branding from watching football.
Wow. Consistency is what I would say. The first thing that comes to mind as it relates to brand in football are the commercials that when I'm watching football, it's the same insurance companies kind of just on repeat over and over and over. It's the same beer commercials hammering, just in that 3-hour window of watching my Michigan Wolverines, shout out Michigan Wolverines. You're seeing the same messaging. It's just this cadence over and over, and repetition, I think, is really what comes to mind.
Well, and with the branding though, the teams, they have their colors, even I mean, you're a Wolverines fan. Do you know how many houses on my street, because I also live in Michigan, how many houses on my street have blue and yellow flags?
Yes.
I don't know why this side of the state is blue and yellow. I don't see a lot of the green flags. But there is even a house about a block and a half that way that is blue and yellow. They painted their house blue and yellow. So the Wolverines have a branding. They've cornered the market on the blue and yellow branding, right?
Absolutely.
People bleed blue.
So I will say, I went to Kent State University. I always joke, Kandas, they're also yellow and blue. I am from Michigan. The logo, as you can see, is yellow and blue. Mm-hmm. There's some intentionality in that. I mean, for me, just the colors, I like the scheme anyway. But, my alma mater, Kent State, my favorite football team, Michigan, I wanted the yellow and blue theme. I mean, there's deeper meaning to the logo itself as well. But yes, I mean, you're right. I mean, I thought commercial at first, but yeah, when you talk about teams and their colors and their logos and just different things like that, yeah, there's a lot to be said about that as well.
It's fun. So tell me about your nonprofit, Ziggy Strong.
Yeah, so Ziggy Strong, Kandas, was developed from my cancer diagnosis. It was, I had Hodgkin's lymphoma. I had 12 chemotherapy treatments in a 6-month span. And I remember like walking into the hospital when it was my time to come back every other Tuesday. And it just like walking down that hallway, the smell and the environment, the vibe, it was low. And I was the guy that had cancer. You picked the wrong guy shirt on and was trying to bring some light to the floor and the nurses. I mean, it's a tough job. And so I just tried to have this spark, this energy as much as I could physically because that was beating me down as well. But as I was having chemotherapy, I thought to myself, how great would it be to start an organization to really help people and their families, like something that would help reduce the burden cancer placed on patients, their loved ones, etc. And so my nickname growing up by playing sports was Ziggy. My last name is Zygadlo. It was given to me back in my Michigan days in middle school. But ultimately it was, what if we did a walk? And not everyone can run, but most people walk. What if we did a walk that would inspire people? We would raise money. Every dollar would go to the individuals we were walking for. And we would walk 2.24 miles. And people go, why the hell do you walk 2.24 miles? A, to be different. But B, it recognizes my remission date of February 20. And we wanted that to be a special time, special day. We walk in the fall because most people don't want to walk in February on the 24th. It's freezing cold in the Midwest. And so the fall time, we have a really nice turnout. We just celebrated our 5th walk. We honored, and it just so happened to be 3 women who had breast cancer. And so we walked the 2.24 miles. Every dollar we received from local businesses, our own networks, donated it kind of equally to those folks to just ultimately, if they needed it for bills, fine. But hopefully it was to allow them to get away to do something to take their minds off of what they were going through with their family, with whomever it is that they wanted to do that with. But that was the mission. That is the mission. So we will be approaching this year our 6th annual Ziggy Strong Walk. We're outgrown our neighborhood. Fire trucks from the local community lead the walk in the development. So it's neat to walk behind these fire trucks. Really, it's just been a real special way to take lemons and turn them into lemonade or whatever they say. And a way for me to give back. I think it's really been a way for me, candidly, to, as a part of my own healing and my own, I still have a lot of challenges from the residual side effects of the chemotherapy and a lot of mental, residual side effects that come along with that as well. So yeah, we have a Ziggy Strong meeting tonight, as a matter of fact, our first one of the year to kind of prepare for this year's walk. And we're super excited to continue to do good work.
So if people want to participate in Ziggy Strong, I'm assuming it's in your town in Ohio.
It is. But what the cool part is, we have a Facebook page. People follow us there. Lots of our own friends and family are also out of Ohio. But, we mail them a shirt. They put it on. They donate. They walk. They document their 2.24 miles. Hey, look at my, so we have a lot of fun with it. My alma mater surprised me, Kent State University. Some of the students there had a big sign that said Ziggy Strong Walk, 2.24 miles. They sent the photo, put it all over social media. I mean, it was very humbling. I had no idea they were doing that. It was just neat to see that other people were walking, even students on campus had decided to put their 2.24 miles in to help support the folks that we were honoring. So yeah, it's really just been a neat.
That's another branding thing, though. I mean, branding is also about plugging into your alma mater, plugging into things that you enjoy, and them plugging into what you're doing too. And
so true.
It sounds like Ziggy Strong is something that has caught on with your community.
It really has.
So you don't know this, but I've been living with metastatic breast cancer for 11 years. And so that means I've been in breast cancer treatment for 11 years, every 3 weeks for the rest of my life. And a cancer friend of mine and I were chatting at chemo on Thursday, this past Thursday. Shout out to Angie. You know who you are. One of the things that she did after she had gone through, before she was diagnosed as metastatic, after she finished treatment was that she started putting together these little care packages. And so she would collect donations and then put these care packages and then deliver the care packages to people with cancer. And it's just such a gesture that went a long way. We sit next to each other at chemo and we have great conversations. And, I think that something that's missing for a lot of folks is that they don't have that person who understands what they're going through.
That's right.
The other thing, though, and this is something that my husband mentions it, but I really regret that this happened. I got so much support. I mean, people would come visit me at chemo. They would drop off food. My husband and my daughter got jack diddly. And they were the ones who were going through the emotional part of it.
Sure.
Sure. They didn't know what was going on, especially after the metastatic diagnosis. They had no idea, and no one was there to support them.
That's right.
And so what you're doing, because it's a holistic thing. It's not just the patient, it's the family too.
Yep.
Do you have advice for family members who have someone going through chemo treatment?
It's so hard. Here's one thing that I learned from my wife. I had so many people that wanted to do things for me, and I was just kind of like, nah. And she's like, listen, if there's one thing I can tell you, even the littlest thing, please accept it. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't need people doing this for me. They're like, look, they love you so much. They can't help you. No one can help you. But if you just accept what little thing that they do for you as, wow, thank you so much, it wasn't like I was not grateful for what they were doing. I was in a headspace where I'm like, I'm good. I don't want to inconvenience anyone, et cetera, et cetera. And she's like, by you accepting what little thing they do, if it's even dropping off soup, like, hey, do you want me to drop off a meal today? I don't care if you don't want it. Just say yes. Because then they feel like, wow, I was able to do something small in this journey of what Jason's going through. That's meaningful to them. And you love them. And that's your way of just reciprocating it back. Take what they want to give you. Because when you turn it down, it's just kind of a way of like, I wanted to do something for them. I don't know what to do, but I want to. Say yes to everything.
And soup can go in the freezer. Great point. I had a very similar epiphany from my husband. We were getting our hair cut together, and my hair never grew back from chemo. So I have to wear wigs. So I go and get my head shaved every 6 months or so. And so he and I had gone to the hair salon together, and he was paying, and the woman at the register said, does she have cancer? And it's, I've been shaving my head for 11 years now. So I didn't feel like yes was the right answer because they were wanting to give me a free haircut.
Sure.
I didn't feel like yes was the right answer at that point. And he said yes. And when we walked out, I was like, this wasn't about him. This free haircut wasn't about me. This free haircut was for him. This was something he needed.
Yeah.
And I oftentimes forget that. I forget that he needs it too. That I'm the one going to chemo, but he's the one taking me.
That's right.
He is just as much a part of this journey as I am.
That's right.
So it was, so it just changed my perspective, and now I'm very more conscientious.
Yeah. In the Ziggy Strong kind of creation, like the mission was, yes, we want to help the individuals that are struggling, but equally important, because I know from my own wife's experiences of trying to juggle going to work and getting me to chemotherapy and, doing all of these things. I'm laid up on the couch after the chemotherapy, not really functional. There's not much I can do because I feel so terrible. Like, what about her? Who's checking on her? So it's so important that when we created this, that we, kept that in mind and wanted that to also be a part of what we're trying to accomplish. So absolutely.
And husbands get checked on a lot less than wives do.
Agreed. They got it. They don't, they're good. That's not necessarily true.
Yeah. It's so important. I'm so glad we had this conversation.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Now that we let's go back to video, because this conversation is supposed to be about video. What do you say to the folks who just don't feel comfortable sticking their face on a video in front of a video camera?
Yeah, I would say, listen, I don't always love how I look and sound. I think that's normal. I think there's, again, alluding back to what I said earlier, comfort is the enemy of growth. And if you don't sometimes take that time to be comfortable being uncomfortable, you'll stay stagnant. And I would just encourage people to push themselves out of their comfort zone. Listen, you don't have to send the perfect video to your client, the first one you make. I was sending them to my wife. Hey, how does this sound? Am I looking at this right? Is the lighting right? So practicing on someone that you know, like, and trust, that's going to be honest with you, give you good feedback. And then just by the time you develop a, kind of a regular, normal cadence of sending or making videos, it almost just becomes, I should say, second nature. And I still sound the same as I did when I made the first one. I still look the same. It's just in my own head. I just listen, because you can have paralysis by analysis. When I first started, I shot like 30 videos and I still wasn't happy with how it looked, how it sounded. I left out a key piece of information that I wanted to share. And at some point I'm like, F it. This is what it is. And it's pretty good. There's some things I probably could have done differently, but that also says a little bit about the genuineness and authenticity into what it is. Mm-hmm. And I'm just going to continue to commit to getting better in the way I do it. And, here I am. I mean, I've been sending a lot of videos. So that's what I would tell people.
So I have a controversial statement that I'm going to share with you, and then I want you to tell me if you agree or disagree and why.
Okay.
You ready?
Sure.
LinkedIn is like high school, but with business cards.
I would disagree. And I would disagree because, yes, I feel like there has been a little bit more of a shift in the looseness of what people do post in terms of like keeping it businessy or Instagramming or Facebooky or however you kind of want to, kind of do that. But I will say I still find a lot of value in LinkedIn. I think there is a lot of value in LinkedIn. I think if searching for the right things, you can find the right stuff. And that, like, fundamentally why it was created and what it was created for, I still think, again, if you tap into that, there's a lot of good. I would make and it's not necessarily a knock on it, but like some of the other social media, whatever you call it, the other social media that's out there.
Platforms, yeah.
Platforms, yeah, that was the word I was looking for. Platforms are more of like the high schoolish vibe. I don't necessarily think I would say that, at least in my own experience, about LinkedIn. Because there's jobs, there's a lot of, there's some really big like influencers, not influencers, but like professional people on there, like giving good free advice. So I don't look at it like that personally.
LinkedIn isn't just for job seekers anymore. It's really, there's a lot of coaches utilizing the platform. It's changed. I am sort of anti-social media right now. And so I have removed I've removed most of the apps from my phone. On my phone, I have the Instagram app because I have to, because I'm a content creator with a program that requires that I post on Instagram. Okay. So because I have that content creator relationship with them, I have to have Instagram on my phone.
Sure.
But I took everything else off. Substack. I have Substack on there because I like to read. I prefer to read articles rather than watch silly videos. I mean, when you see the same video done by 15 different people in your feed and that's all you see, it just got so artificial to me.
That's a fair point.
Build your own brand. No, they weren't standing out. They were just copying each other. Yeah. Why be a copycat? Which is something that we talked about at the beginning too. So add on to that. Add your thoughts.
Yeah. I mean, you make some good points. I just will say this. If you are a job seeker, if you're looking to make a pivot or you just need employment, I will tell you this. Imagine this scenario. You go on because you really want to work at a certain company. You find that company on LinkedIn, and you know that this company in your area of Michigan, they're hiring for an account executive. You go on, you find the company, you then toggle that down even more to find the account executives that work at that company, and you connect with them. And then you professionally have a little bit of a dialogue with them, or perhaps even say, hey, I'd love to learn more about your experience at that company. There's an opening in my area. I'd like to learn more from your perspective. And you are able to have that conversation. You then have that conversation and you say, look, Kandas, this was awesome. I hope you feel the same way. That job that's in my backyard, would you mind potentially passing my resume along to the hiring manager? I'm not trying to put you in an awkward spot, but hopefully you can kind of see my background, what I shared with you. Sounds like you see where I'm coming from. And based on the conversation, sounds like there could be some synergy. Now I just made an internal stakeholder connection and I got a warm endorsement potentially, and I'm getting them to send my resume to the hiring manager who maybe you report to and have a great relationship with. That's a big deal. You can't do that on other platforms in that way. So I make a strong argument that there is a way to leverage LinkedIn. Yeah, you can scroll and see the same stuff and it's repurposed and curated in a little bit of a different way. And you're like, holy shit, I just seen this. Mm-hmm. No, not that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the example that I just described. That's powerful.
And it's also a good way to stay connected with people that you used to work with.
Sure, yeah, maintaining your network.
Yeah, and you're talking about strategies for people who are a little younger. I'm a little older.
Sure.
And I'm not job seeking, so I stay connected with people on LinkedIn who I think could advance my podcast or expand my network, or people who I admired when we worked together, or people who are doing interesting things now. I have a friend that we were really close when we worked together, and now he writes for National Geographic.
Oh, wow.
It's like, it is so cool to see us, we be in our 20s doing things that 20-year-olds do in a job to what we're doing now.
Right.
And it's a lot of fun. So LinkedIn is also a way to stay connected with people that still have meaning, even if your career has changed directions.
Absolutely. I mean, some of my best colleague friends, we still just, there's a connection on LinkedIn, whether it's supporting their post and liking their stuff or seeing that they made a change and go, oh man, I know someone that works there. Like, it's just, networking is huge. I mean, I say I don't have many skills. Networking is one that I feel like I love connecting dots. That is like, it's a great feeling when you go, wow, like mutually beneficially, these two people through my connection that didn't know each other, now we're able to do something special. That's cool.
I learned that from a friend of mine. She did it in person exceptionally well. And so I just picked up, her name's Ellen. Ellen, shout out to Ellen. But what she did was when she introduced two people to each other, she talked about what they had in common. So Jason, meet Ellen. Both of you are from Michigan, or if you're in a different place, or just a little thing, just enough so that the conversation could get started.
Yeah, just a little,
just
enough.
And so I do that when I make introductions. I just learned it from her if you model, okay, there's a difference between being a copycat and modeling desired behavior. I model her behavior because it was efficient and it made an impact on me. But would I ever copy her personality? No.
Right.
I'm modeling I'm modeling a behavior that she had that was effective and that made an impression on me.
Yeah.
So don't be a copycat.
I tell people that all the time. I take this idea from this person, that idea. In fact, candidly, I love this idea. I will probably incorporate that. Shout out to Ellen for the great idea and now pass through Kandas. But that's who we all really are, right? I mean, and then I Jasonify it. I turn it into my own with my personality. So yeah, plagiarizing someone? No, not necessarily. But, borrowing good content and ideas and then kind of making it my own to share with people. Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
We don't need 25, 30, 50,000 videos of people dancing to a Bronski Beat song from the 80s. What we need is people coming up with unique ideas that may be based on the idea of dancing to the Bronski Beat.
Yeah,
from the 80s,
exactly.
right?
Well said.
Small Town Boy. Shout out. Great song, but I was sick of that song within the second day of that viral trend.
Overplayed. Yes.
Way overplayed. All right. Do you have... would you like to share the name of the video service that you use? Do you have like an affiliate link for it? Would you like to share that?
So I don't, I have no connection or affiliation with the platform. The platform that I've adopted and was trained on is called Vidyard, Vidyard. Just to be fair balanced, there's Loom, there's, I think, BombBomb. I mean, if you Googled personalized videos, there are several of them. All kind of do things a little bit differently, but pretty much the same. I would say, again, if some of them can be expensive, to turn your phone around and, I kind of, loosely say a poor man's version of a personalized video. There's nothing wrong with doing that. I tend to like some of the analytical piece that comes with Vidyard, so that's kind of my, connection to it. But some of the other programs may offer those too. So I would just say do your homework, explore. There's a lot of them out there, and see what's best for you.
And again, turning the camera around and just talking to your phone. If that's where you start, that's where you start. And if you decide you need the analytics,
that's right.
I've actually used all three of those services.
Okay.
Loom is more of a tutorial kind of video. You can do like 5-minute tutorial videos. It's pretty good. It doesn't have for the free. It has a free version, so Loom is a good place to start.
Yeah.
But you can only have 10 saved videos, so you have to delete as you go. But it's a good starting place.
Some of the clients that I've mentored now and have worked with, they also said Vidyard has like X amount of videos for free. You don't get any of the analytics, but once you hit that capacity, then I think you have to wait another month or something like that. So if it's something that you want to just dabble with, it's a good way to just check out all the different platforms, take advantage of the free ones, see what one feels right. And if not, you always have your phone by default.
You should always give things a try before you commit to the one that you want to use. I mean, I tried, when it comes to this podcast, I have tried so many different platforms and tools and resources because I want to make sure I'm using the right ones for me. And it's not always going to be right for everybody.
The StreamYards and the Riversides and the different... absolutely.
You got to find the right tools for you.
Yes.
And figure that out. All right. How can people get a hold of you?
So, I know you may not love it, but social media is where I'm at. So, always looking for new friends and, if anything that made sense, piqued some interest, please reach out. LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. I have an intern from my alma mater, Kent State. She's, I guess, making a TikTok channel for us to be on. So that's coming soon. Stay tuned. But then also the website, www.careercoachbyob.com. Lots of good information there. Can certainly connect with us that way as well.
Perfect. All right. Jason, this is your moment of gratitude. For whom or what are you most grateful?
I'm grateful for my wife. I will say that I didn't get married until later on in life. We just celebrated. We have an 8-month-old son. Because of the chemotherapy, wasn't necessarily sure if I would be able to have children. And so I think each day is just such a blessing. My wife, meeting her later on in life, I think is what I needed. I just am more appreciative of her now more than ever. And just... her support through when I was sick, through this career adventure, she just has constantly had my back. And my family, I've been I'm super grateful, super thankful, super blessed to just have such a support system and people in my corner as I'm kind of in this new venture. Being an older dad is hard. I have a 15-year-old as well. So, Jason at 30, parenting a baby. Now Jason at 46, it's a little bit different, but again, I have such a great wife that I feel super grateful for. So I would say that would be my answer for sure.
Thanks for tuning in to Gratitude Geek, the podcast for grateful micropreneurs building genuine, lasting relationships with clients, colleagues, and community. Our theme music is by Rev Brock and Soul Lily. A huge thank you to our guest, Jason Zygadlo. You can find his links in the show notes at gratitudegeek.com. This is episode 274, and yes, I will include the social media links. I've been your host, Kandas Rodarte. Stay groovy, my friends.
Stay groovy, my friends.